Hello, Scott from Wessex Blades. Thanks for joining me again in my little craft room. Been a strange day today because I've had a couple of car issues, so we had to do a bit of travelling whilst things weren't happening transport wise. So what I did was I did a trip to a farm outlet in order to get a few bits and bobs that were useful, and I saw this. It's called a compass camper's axe. Now I did manage to use the phone light on my phone in order to try and shine through the red crappy paint they put on these things. It's like they try and give the impression of a handle whilst covering up the opportunity to check the grain if you were interested in that sort of thing. But anyway, I'm sure I saw the grains, and then sure enough, there is the grain of the handle nice and straight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the annoying stickers. So when it comes to using an axe as opposed to a hatchet, there could actually be that sort of motion, and it's just covered in ruddy stickers. I've got a barcode sticker, a warning when to use goggles and safety goggles. I've got the price tag itself, I've got the brand name there, and then the paint anyway. And it's coated in varnish. Varnish. I want it open grain so I can coat it in oil. So I'm going to get rid of these a second, and then going to scrape that varnish off. So we'll come back in a bit when I've sorted it out. Yeah, and then there's going to be that sort of size hatchet in order to do a review in the next couple of weeks, because when we're talking about stuff that size, I've got the coastal tomahawk, and I've got something I was sent years back, you may remember. It's got a big leather guard sheath on it, and it's an old double bit axe. So I'm going to be doing a review, maybe some testing what I can get out done with this sort of size hatchet or small axe or tomahawk, in order to compare the performance, the weight, okay, and the prices. I mean, I paid £16.74 for this. Is it any good? Straight off the bat, lousy edge. So going into an outlet and buying one of these, you're going to have some work to do. It'll shock split open chumps, which is what they call sections of logs that you just split apart. But yeah, hey, let's see what it looks like when I've got rid of all these labels. Do not use it. A Stanley blade and just scrape it out. Okay, what I'm going to do now is, because I used the belt grinder in order to double check I was happy I got a good handle and expose the end grain by getting rid of the paint. What I'm going to do now is, because I lost a couple of mil, is redo the comfort and end grain protection of a sort of angled bevel on the knob there. Hey, it's called a knob. It's called a knob, trust me. Right, so do this. Set myself up on that. Right there. Like that. Okay. Now that's also, apart from making it more comfortable as it comes off in your hand, feels the end of the handle. You're also stopping the end from breaking off, because you sort of gently napped it over. It's a bit like the end of a fence post. They cleave off the ends to make it sort of the angled off like that. Alright, so what's to do now? Right, still filming? Yeah, that's good. Now, what I found when I was doing this sort of thing with the kids in school, we used to do pine board, sort of decorative coasters and things. I'd always tell them to just go a little bit further than the finish you're trying to end up with, because you're always going to sand it back down afterwards. So if I get a little bit of paper, sandpaper or abrasive cloth, what we got here, there's about a, that's about a 120. The time that you sand it off, and even now this is, I'm able to touch this. Okay, I haven't really gone at it like a loony bin. Okay, I'm not too worried about the paint finish on the head, because I just thought I'd play. Okay, so what the goal is that as the grain of the handle slightly goes up and down, you'll keep the burn bits in the trenches, and you'll slightly remove and distress the burnt finish you've got on the highs. So you should end up with a slightly lighter finish. Forget to also try and keep that extra bevel in keeping with everything else. And gradually blend it. And if you go at it, absolutely go for it, you can give yourself that sort of bog oat look, and that's cool as well. But I like to try and see some character of the grain and the swirls. Just put a little bit of, not necessarily care, but a bit of finesse with the finish that you're getting. And even the amount of sand that you're doing, you want to make it even and deliberate, because you're trying to blend it and create that finish. Now this sort of it as it is here, once I white spirit that away, a lot of that may go. So again, you're still at a sort of blackness or a darkness past what you desired end up situation outcome is going to be. Right, it's cool enough to pick up now. So it's a lot easier holding it this way around and trying to hold the end with the head. Okay, I've scorched it just on the surface. I haven't tried to destroy too much of the wood. Because, you know, you're paying for that wood. That might take a little bit nastier grain there, because I've just overdone it on the back of the nape of it. So I'll just remove a little bit more there. And just try and get it back to that sort of mid-brown as opposed to scorched. And again now as it comes around. Blending it all in. What's going on there? Interesting patterns. Okay, what are we looking at now then? So a bit of a rag. In this ridiculous little garage with no cooking room. It was a little bit restricting what we're looking at now. I could use some, I ain't got white spirit, but I've got acetone for me. So I'll go back in a minute, but just for now, so you take a bit more off. That'll save me hands getting filthy inside a minute. We'll go back inside and I'll get some white spirit on it. That's a bit cheaper. You sort of see the grain. It's not completely scorched. Still got the actual character of the wood underneath. Right. Get back inside. Okay, we're back inside. And there's my white spirit. So it doesn't evaporate anywhere near as fast in the acetone. It leaves that sort of oiled look to the wood. It gives you a clue as to what the finish would be if you oiled it. So it's interior light at the moment. Yeah, there you go. A bit more. Right, I'm guessing what the position is, but see what I'm getting at. So let the try and get all the soot out before you oil it. Hopefully you can see. It's the sort of thing I was after there. There we go. Right. Right, so there's a bit of a step forward with that one. And obviously the red's completely out, so what I'm planning on doing is get rid of that completely, put a nice edge on it, and then some form of etch or gun blue. Seeing how you don't know quite what steel will react in certain ways, but that's my plan for that. And I'll just blacken up the end. I don't want to burn that in any way because it's got the. I don't want to dry that out. I want it to be able to be oiled down through there. Yeah, and then an oiled finish. Now another finish you can put on a tool such as this is you can rub chains over it, and it sort of knuckles the finish, sort of miniature dents. I've got one commission coming up. If I remember that, he went for a chained finish. So it's like some. I think people do it for like old wooden chests. They sort of flame them, distress them. They might acid dip them in order to give them an old look, and then they thrash them with chains. So it's something Davy Jones and Jack Sparrow would have had. So it puts years on the sort of wear and tear. The effect, the patina as it were, of the thing can be brought on with an etch or a distress of some description, but the wood, they sort of thrash at it with metal chains. But anyway, so yeah, pretty good result. Thanks for joining me again, and that was my £17 camp axe from a farmer's store. Looks better already on that sticker C. So Scott from Wessex Blades 8. Thanks for joining again, and this will catch up on a series of Monday mixed media madness. So